The Boston Bruins just teased something massive as they get a full result from what we've been waiting to see, with multiple interesting moves made by Marco Sturm ahead of last night's game. They had a very good outcome with a lot of things that went right for a lot of players who have not done so this season. We're going to be breaking it all down, going over this game, as well as a few other notes here at the end, so be sure to stick around for that. But before we do jump into this video, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you one favor. That's if you haven't already, be sure to hit the sub button, join me here on the channel. We're covering everything Boston Bruins, and we have a lot of stuff coming with all of these trade reports going down with Pavel Zacha and the Bruins now turning to heat up. We have a lot of stuff coming, so you won't want to miss it. But let's jump straight into this game. And I want to touch on the game a little bit first before we do touch on the rest of this here. And I want to pull up, first of all, the hockey stat card. And when you look at this 5-2 win against the Islanders, a whole lot of positive, and that's what the big thing to take away from is here. You see a little bit of team offense down the negative, but disregard that completely. This team offense and team defense compared to team defense and individual offense, not too much of an impact on that. Team offense is probably the least important thing here on this chart, which is certainly the best result here. And as you see, Charlie McAvoy atop this list for the first time this season. I believe it is probably his first time not at the bottom of this list as well for this season, which is a very good game. And what a bounce back he had. This was one that we've been waiting for a while, and having that happen finally in a game against the New York Islanders with a stretch of big games coming up once again, trying to get back into a repeated win column and forget what we've seen the past week or so from this Bruins team. This is what we need to see Charlie McAvoy do. And it's not just him. It was the entire team here. You go down as well to Jonathan Asprot in his first game of his NHL career. A great game coming out of him as well. We saw exactly what we wanted and needed to see out of this Bruins team. But going into it as well, not just that, the defense was absolutely rock solid. 35 shots from the Islanders, holding it down. Jonas Korpisalo, a fantastic game. And it really goes to show with a few stats that we're going to have here in a minute what this entire game really leads up to, how these wins develop, how everything does come to fruition when you play even the slightest bit different. Now, I want to pull up this from Marco Sturm first of all. He said, I wanted to hug him after the game. I'll tell you that. Maybe not his first shift because he did miss the net and they went on the other way. But other than that, he was outstanding. He's definitely a guy we need in our lineup. And guess who that is regarding? That is Hampus Lindholm, who did return to this lineup here yesterday. And going into that game, it was a very good opportunity to take out one player in specific, and that was Mason Lohrei. We saw that, and Marco Sturm had a few quotes on that. We're going to jump into that here in a moment, as well as that healthy scratch. But we saw what it did to Casey Mittelstadt, and I feel like that's evidence enough to show that Mason Lohrei, take a game off, see what we're seeing, see what the fans are seeing, see what Marco Sturm is seeing, and that can change your game. It worked out perfect for Casey Mittelstadt, and this is going to be a big opportunity as well going into it for Mason Lohrei to take that jump again, get back, have a fresh start, and go off. Because he had one game that was very good on the third line, and of course those 3 assists. But apart from that, with his pairing with Charlie McAvoy, that line was absolutely abysmal. And looking at it, probably shouldn't have worked in the first place, but now we have the proof, we have the evidence that we cannot try that once again. And I feel like this as well was a very good way to switch up this team, switch up the game, and have the Bruins go 3 goals in 4 minutes. Something like this will immediately set the mindset, have a tone-setting difference in a game like this, and we did see it from the Bruins. We saw exactly that, and once again, having your guy back, Hampus Lindholm, being just a small part of this, but so much bigger than anybody could ever imagine. It shows the impact it has on the team. And I mean, just pulling up the stat card once again, and when you do take a look there, you do see Hampus Lindholm near the bottom there, but at the end of the day, like I mentioned, team offense, not the biggest deal. His defense was very good, and having the team defense all just about above 1, I think apart from Victor Arvidsson, who's just below that, it was still a very solid game from just about everybody on this team, and you really is going to find a hard way to ask for more. But another big part of when wins come to win, and I mean, another part of how this all plays into, a part in a win for the Bruins, you see from Ty Anderson here, in the first 5 wins of the season, the Bruins goaltenders have combined for a .940 save percentage, and that's just another big part of it. You have everybody rolling, you're staying solid in front of your goaltending. You know that a guy like Jonas Korpisalo, a guy like Jeremy Swayman, they can hold you down a game, they can win you a game, but it helps a lot. And a 940 save percentage is that proof, that evidence that we need to see that when your defense is playing good, when you're getting the goals, your goaltending will keep you in it. And I mean, even if you show the goaltending, stats against the losses, it's still good because they're giving you a chance to win. It may not be the best stats, but we can see in the game that these guys are a reason that the Bruins can win games. And I feel like this is just another part of it, which you get both sides rolling, you're going to be in a very, very good shape heading into really whoever you do play. And I mean, looking at this game, I feel like this team could beat anybody, and I'm still going to say that. It depends how they play, though, just as it is for any team in the NHL. But if they can play like this, if they can continue to get rolling, you run it this way. You play your game, and you have that result that we've all been waiting for. Now, like I said, Hampus Lindholm, his return was huge, and he was asked the question how his lower body injury does feel, and he says, I'm looking ahead. It's like I said, body feels good, a big win for the boys tonight. So I'm sure there is still some sort of feeling there from Hampus Lindholm with whatever that lower body injury is, whether it is actually that groin injury that we've spoken about and we've seen reported. That's something that's going to linger still for a bit, but the fact that Hampus Lindholm got back to practice, first of all, second of all, came into this game, says he's feeling good, played good, that's another positive sign. And as long as he can skate, as long as he can play, and as long as he does not get re-injured, we keep him in the lineup. And obviously, you're going to have to listen to what he says. If he's feeling bad, keep him out of our practice, whatever, keep him out of his skate. But you got to take this day by day, and at least right now, we're in a very positive note on that front. Now, one thing as well is Mason Lohrei. Like I said, he was taken out of the lineup in favor of not just Jonathan Asperot, but getting into this game and getting Hampus Lindholm back into this game. Michael Callahan was the one to sit here. And at the end of the day, I think the Bruins are still going to be looking to put Mason Lohrei here somewhere on this line over Jonathan Asperot, although he did play a good game. Was his NHL debut, and you know you trust Lohrei more at the end of the day in many more circumstances. Now, this is what Marco Sturm said his reasoning was behind this move. And he says, we expect more from him, and sometimes we have to press that reset button. And it's not like we want to bury him. No, I want to help him, and that's the part of the process. And again, you get some good things, but too many mistakes lately. And that was really the main thing that Marco Sturm said was, too many mistakes, the day off the reset button works. And we saw with Casey Middlestat, too many mistakes, hit the reset button, and look at him now. He's coming out playing an incredible offensive game on that second line with Victor Arvidsson and Pavel Zacha. So I think this is something that will hopefully work out for Mason Lohrei as well. And I mean, it doesn't hurt to set a game like this. This is why we hired Marco Sturm, as a coach. And going into these types of games, this type of season where you're not expected to be good, but you can be. And I think that Marco Sturm is taking this day by day, step by step, and in the right mindset 100%. And I feel like when you're going and taking a look at this defense, when you can put it the way that you, however it will be when Mason Lohrei does return, we can kind of, identify or scheme what it should be. I like the Zadorov McAvoy line here tonight. Lindholm and Peak I think is fine, and even if you do end up putting Lohrei and Jokiharju, or Lohrei and Peak, Lindholm and Jokiharju, I think there's a lot of options that could really work on this lineup that would make a lot of sense, but once again, it's very hard to kind of assume anything until you do go ahead and see it on the ice. And that's one thing the Bruins are going to be testing over the next couple of days when they do get back now into practice and seeing how these lines fit. I think it's a big thing going ahead for the Bruins. But one more thing before we do finish the video off, I want to note here from Pierre LeBrun on Insider Trading said that Pavel Zacha as a long-term fit is how the Bruins see him, and they don't be surprised if they try to extend him this summer. So kind of just adding some more reports into what we've been talking about in the last few videos that although the Canucks are in on him, I think this is just another point where the Bruins released this themselves saying, hey, we want to extend him to try and up the offer from the Canucks. And I have no doubt that the Bruins want to extend Pavel Zacha, but interesting timing for this to come out. So let me know what you think about that, as well as the rest of the stuff here in this video. That's all I got in this one. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out, though. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.